Some of the best hope for new jobs in Boston lies with small businesses, but they often need help with legal matters, whether in signing a lease or staying on the right side of regulations. To help the entrepreneurs and the surrounding community, there's a one-year program supported by the Boston Foundation. It's called the BNN Economic Justice Project, and our guest from the project is an Economic Justice Fellow, Bill Collins. Thank you very much for being with us, Bill.
Thank you for having us, Chris.
This is a program that's available even outside of Boston, but it is targeted, so maybe if you can explain a little bit about that.
Well, the mission of our program is helping small business owners in low-income and minority areas. In the greater Boston region, we focus in areas such as Dorchester, Jamaica Plain, Roxbury, East Boston. From there, we'll go to immigrant communities in Lowell and Brockton, out to Worcester. But here in Boston, it's those communities that I listed are where we focus our energies.
So there are, I guess, two different ways of coming at the people you're trying to serve. One is through maybe a one-on-one relationship, and you also have these community-wide events like workshops, I imagine. Mm-hmm. Explain how the one-on-one opportunities work.
Oftentimes our model works by collaborating with local community organizations, and they really have their finger on the pulse of a community's needs. And oftentimes, if they have a small business owner that they know is in need of help, they will refer them to us. So we will then do our intake process and try to figure out what sorts of issues they have, and then we try to place them with an attorney at one of the multiple law firms here in Boston that we partner with.
Can you give me an example of something you could do for a business owner?
An example that we often point to, recently we helped a bakery owner. She is Haitian-American, a Haitian immigrant. And it's a bakery owner. She was confronted with a lease from her landlord that had very lessor favorable terms. And she didn't have the means to afford an attorney on her own. She reached out to the Chamber of Commerce in the Brockton area, who then reached out to us, and we were able to provide her with a real estate attorney from Ropes and Gray, the law firm of Ropes and Gray, who actually engaged in a meaningful and very beneficial negotiation with the landlord on her behalf. And not only was the tenant happy with the results, the landlord was happy with the results, with the professionalism of the relationship, and the fact that everybody involved just wanted to see the business succeed. So it was really a win-win situation, and that's the sort of thing that we really strive for, and we're able to do on a number of occasions.
I imagine with a lot of these small businesses, things are not always on an even keel. People have the best of intentions, but sometimes there's a leg, somebody might be out sick or something like that, and there's a cash flow problem. How do these business people protect themselves from that, especially when they have to deal with somebody like a landlord?
I think the best way is to have a number of robust legal protections in place up front. It's really all about the ounce of prevention is a pound of cure. Business attorneys are in the business, to turn a phrase, of avoiding litigation up front with work such as forming corporations to provide limited liability, putting sound leases in place, good contracts that have terms that are favorable for their client and are also clear, so that if a dispute does arise, people know what the resolution will be and what the process will be. It's uncertainty that is really the costliest thing for a business owner. And all businesses will have cash flow problems, but something that the things that they can't prepare for, disputes, lawsuits, those sorts of things, those are the things that can really kill a business, especially a young business in this economy. We want to make sure that every protection that a business can get is in place, especially since, in this economy, the idea of creating jobs is most important, and small businesses can do that, especially with the proper measures in place up front.
Where are suits most likely to come from? Because the ones we hear about, somebody goes to a restaurant, they have some bad food or something like that, but what's more often the case?
It's oftentimes it's the sort of thing where a customer doesn't pay, a client doesn't pay, and if the agreement was a handshake, was verbal, there wasn't a written contract in place, then it's really, you can go to court, but then it's your word versus theirs. There's no way to prove it. Whereas if you have an agreement that you at the very least force the other party to sit down and outline their expectations, you can say what your expectations are, and then you force someone to sign it. Which that memorialization of a business relationship, it galvanizes just the weight, and it makes it that much more important in the mind of the other party. So we're always urging our clients to get it in writing as far as contracts go. That's just one example.
What about staying on the right side of regulations? Because whether you run a restaurant or you fix cars, there are things you got to look out for.
A recent initiative that we're participating in, it involves environmental regulations for auto body shop owners. I forget what the I forget what the actual acronym is, but there's a number of environmental regulations that are about to go into effect. And we are helping a coalition of mostly immigrant-owned business owners in the Roxbury and Dorchester area put into place almost a self-regulatory business coalition to help each other make sure they abide by these regulations. And that's the sort of thing that we love to support, because you have a number of aspects to that. You have the environmental benefits, you have the fact that you're helping immigrant businesses in mostly immigrant communities, and that it's a self-sufficiency, it's a self-driven project. So we're really there to just help give some guidance in terms of making sure they put into place the things that make the coalition successful, while making sure they're cognizant of the regulations that they're dealing with, and all the potential pitfalls that might.
Of course, it seems also if you've got this coalition, it might be less likely that the owner of one auto body shop, for example, isn't going to be put at a disadvantage if he uses a less hazardous solvent or something than the competition, which might be doing something cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's really what this is about, making sure that, and the other aspect of this is the public awareness. The businesses are going to be able to put it on their front door that they abide by these rules, and they've taken the steps on their under their own initiative before they were forced to do so, and that they are not alone in this. There are a number of auto shops in different aspects: brake shops, paint shops, body repair shops, oil change facilities, all sorts of places. So it's really I use the word awesome to describe it. It's an awesome initiative that we're seeing in these neighborhoods.
We should mention that if business people or some community organizations want to follow up and find out more, is there a way they can do that?
Yeah, they can call me. My number is 617-988-0604, and I'm in the office every day. And if they leave a voicemail, or if I'm able to pick up the phone, I'll get back to them as soon as possible, and we can talk.
Great, thank you very much for being with us. Bill Collins from the BNN Economic Justice Project. Still to come, a candidate for state representative in West Roxbury after this message.